Hello guys and welcome to another video. Today we are going to talk about toxic people, how to handle relationships with toxic people, which can be in any kind of environment. Think about some co-workers or a boyfriend or a friend, even some family members sometimes can be toxic, maybe without even wanting to, but actually that's what they cause to us with their behavior. So today we are going through what toxic people are, what they do to us, why do we feel the way we feel, but most importantly, how can we go out of the situation. I'm Juliana and welcome to my channel. So let's start about this topic. So when we talk about toxic people, what is it exactly that we mean? Because toxic people actually are basically people who with their behavior kind of cause something inside of us, like this sort of negative feeling that we don't feel really good about ourselves. You know what I mean? So it can be, for example, every time you experience this kind of feeling like something is wrong, but you really don't know why and you cannot really explain it, like the possibility that you're having to that you're dealing with a toxic person is really high. So let's say, for example, a boyfriend that doesn't behave good enough with you, or that leaves you hanging on the last second when you had a date, or let's say a co-worker that uses a kind of an aggressive, passive-aggressive tone with you, and you're like, okay, I cannot really say that something happened, but you feel that something is wrong. And this kind of behavior becomes toxic in a sense that it affects you, and you kind of feel I don't know, this negative feeling inside, right? So you feel maybe frustration because you wanted to say something but then you didn't, or maybe you feel just something is not good but you don't know how to explain it. But the important thing is not to label it, the important thing is to recognize it. So once you recognize you have this feeling, be sure about the fact that you are around someone who has been toxic. Sometimes these people do it on purpose because they really enjoy seeing you in trouble, or seeing you hurt from their behavior. But other times they don't even do it on purpose, and that's because most of the times people just deal with themselves all the time, and the other people who are around are just kind of a reflection of what they are doing. So let's say, for example, a person is insecure. This person will just behave in an insecure way, and by behaving that way, it will hurt and affect other people without even realizing it. And it's not even about the other people, it's more about the person itself, because they are insecure. And so you will always meet toxic people throughout your life. Sometimes you can walk away easily and say, okay, bye, I never need to see you again. Other times you have to deal with those people. So the only thing you can do about it, but it's the key, and it's so effective, and it's life-changing, or at least it was to me, is to realize that you have a lot of power, and the power that you have is on yourself. So you can decide on a more conscious level whether this behavior is going to affect you or not. And once you realize, and I will tell you how to do that, how you can be unaffected by those behaviors, you realize that other people can just do whatever they feel to do. They can scream, they can be rude, they can be, I don't know, whatever they want to be with their behavior, but this behavior is not going to affect you anymore. And that's a great power that you have over yourself. And remember, at the contrary, every time you let these people inside your walls, and you let these people hurt you, you're giving up your own power. So it's you're the one deciding whether you want to give up your power or whether you want to keep your power and not let these people in. So for me, the major point was to realize sorry about that. The major point was to realize that actually the point was that I always took things personally. So whenever, for example, something happened, I took it personally. And I want to do two examples. One is with for example, a boyfriend, and one is with a co-worker, because I think that things are really, really different in the way you can react So I was saying it depends. Like, let's start with a co-worker situation, okay? So like with a co-worker, I think it's the easiest situation, because what you need to do exactly, like the method I'm going to teach you, is exactly the same, whether you're going to apply it with a co-worker or with a boyfriend. But of course, the closest the person is to you, the more difficult it will get to get detached from the situation. So what you do with a coworker that is kind of like annoying you, or that you feel like it's toxic, because every time you are there with a good energy and a good vibe, this person just brings you down with his or her like negative energy, is just to understand that it's really not about you, and you don't have to take it personally. Let's think about a child. Like if a child should tell you, for example, oh, you're so mean, I don't want to play with you anymore. Would you like feel like, I don't know, really hurt by the thing? I don't think so, because you realize it's just a child and it's not about you. Like he's just tired, or he just wants to get what he wants, and you know, like you do not take it personally. And that's the same thing with a coworker or someone who's like not in your like really close sentimental sphere. Because actually, even though the words that they say and the behaviors that they have are addressed to you, and you're like the person who's like taking those behaviors and taking those words, actually the moment you realize it's not about you, but it's about their own insecurities, their own issues, their own not ability to handle whatever is going on with them, and so they lash out towards other people, you can kind of say, okay, this is what's happening. Again, I'm in the phase where I'm taking it personally, when exactly it's like the opposite I should do. This person has some like evident like issues that this person needs to fix, and it's not about me. So if this person wants to scream, yell, whatever, I'm going to say to this person really politely, like, hey, like if you have a bad day or something, like if you want to do that, please do not do it. Like do not like assume this behavior with me, because I'm not willing to accept it. But you say it in a calm way, in a detached way, and once you said what you need to say, you detach yourself from the situation and you do not think about it anymore, because it was never about you. It's like, you know, I made the example of a child, but let's say it's like, let's think about a puppy, you know, because I have a puppy. So when she, for example, doesn't listen to me, or she's annoying sometimes because she grabs things and then, you know, she eats or chews like my shoes or stuff, it's not that I take it personally. Like I know it's a puppy, she needs to be educated, and that's it. So I take her behavior as something I react to, but I react to it in a really detached way. You know what I mean? That's the point. Like it's not about not reacting. Of course you're going to react, but you're going to do it in a really calm way. You're going to explain your point of view and what is not cool with your, like with her behavior, and then you move on and you do not take it personally. And trust me, when another person sees you talk with a calm tone and with confidence, and seeing that you're not getting like reactive, so you're not getting mad about the thing, or you're not getting like, you do not scream, but you're really like there and say, okay, look, I didn't like this, could we please like find another way to deal with the same issue the next time, this person will actually appreciate it. And if this person does not appreciate it, it's not your problem, like I said. So now let's move to the boyfriend example. The boyfriend example, or the best friend example, or the family member, it's more difficult, because it's more difficult to get detached when you're so sentimentally involved. Because actually, like, you know, it's normal, you have all those feelings, and it's like really hard to just, you know, take a step back and say, okay, I do not take it personally. But actually, I want to introduce another concept which is really important here, which is the concept of setting boundaries. So the detachment is the second part, okay? But first you need to set boundaries. So it's really important, especially for people who love you and like who you love back, to set boundaries, meaning that you tell them what your needs are and what you're needing in that moment. So for example, look, I didn't like that at the last second you just called it out and we didn't go to dinner, because to me it's really important that a person keep his commitment to me. And that's something you have to say without like getting too on fire, you know, like you say it in a calm way, you're just expressing your needs. And this will bring you two main things. The first thing is that you will set your boundaries, meaning you set your standard and you say, look, this is me, I'm Juliana, I'm a kind of person who will be like polite, I will be flexible to this point, but I will not accept something that goes beyond that point. Okay, so one time you called it up like on the last second, it's okay, but the second time, if you want to like keep having a relationship with me, it will not be okay. So this will help you to express your needs, but also to set standards. People are used to, you know, boundaries all the time. Think about the law that we have in each like one of our countries, or think about even like the small social rules you have at school or with other people. Like we set boundaries all the time. So the first thing you need to do is to set boundaries. First, because you owe it to yourself, like you feel that you're gaining power because you're able to say what you need to say. And the second thing is also because so many times we think that other people like they just get it, but actually we are all different. And so you need to explain what your point is, what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept, because maybe this guy was with another girlfriend in the past and for her it was cool enough that he like called, like at the last second he called her saying, okay, we cannot go to dinner anymore because oh my god, I want to go out with my friend. Maybe for her it was cool, but for you it's not. We are all different and you need to express it. Once you express it, of course, you give the chance to this person to have a reaction about it. And that's where you kind of like take in his reaction and then you detach yourself. So for example, this person, let's say case A scenario, is telling you, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize I was like, you know, like hurting you in some kind of way. I thought it was not a big deal, that we could go tomorrow to dinner, but okay, next time I won't do it. And that's the perfect result. But if this person like keeps doing it, or this person is like, hey, I don't care because, you know, my friends are important and we can do it another time, then you detach yourself the same way you did with your colleague. You do not take it personally because you realize it's just about this narcissistic person not taking into consideration other people's needs, and you know you're not going to be one of like one of the fishes in his net. And so you're like, okay, you can like keep being the way you are, but you will not do it with me. And that's the important thing. So I would say set boundaries. It's the first rule. You do it for yourself to, you know, like show yourself that you love yourself and that you respect whatever your needs are. No need that you will ever feel in your life will be wrong, because like if you need something, if you feel something is not right for you, that's the sole and only indicator that you need to address it. And then once you stood up for yourself, you gave the other person the chance to understand your boundaries and what was not okay. And apart from that, like your job is done, because what the other person decides to do is up to them, but you will not be affected by their behavior. So like everything in life, the more you practice, the more like you will get confident with this, and one day you will just do it automatically without even having to think all this, you know, like these passages, and it will just get easier. We are afraid to set boundaries a lot of the times. We are afraid to address something. We are maybe like we are too easily hurt by what other people say or do or the way they behave. We always think like maybe it's something to do with us, that we are the wrong like person in the room, because I don't know what did I do to make her lash out, what did I do to make her say this thing. Like even if we don't admit it to ourselves, actually that's what we think, you know, in our self analysis in our head. So I would just encourage you to try to set boundaries, and once you set your boundaries, to step back, be detached, and remember that whatever this person is like lashing out to you, it's about that person, and you will see it more and more clearly. Like with the time that passes, because you will get so much better at it. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I see you on the next one.